לא ירא רע כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. The words of the 23rd Psalm, Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit, guiding me on the right path, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through a valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Welcome everyone, all of you who came in person, and also we welcome everyone online. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rabbi Anibal Mas from Congregation Shaarey Zedek, and it's my great honor to be here this morning officiating the funeral services for Harvey Brown, Zichrono Livracha, of blessed memory, who was also known to the Jewish people by his Hebrew name, Chaim ben Israel Yoel HaKohen Vesara Esther, Zichrono Livracha. He was the son of Sam and Sarah Brown of blessed memory, beloved husband of Rita for some 56 years, the brother of Morris Brown, and Edward and Susan Brown, the father of Jeffrey Brown and Lori Schenkro, and Stuart and Sandy Brown. He was the grandfather of Natasha, Jillian, Sydney, Sam, Etta, and Arlo. Harvey passed away on Wednesday, December 15th, unexpectedly, at the age of 87. This week, we read the last parsha of the book of Genesis. It's called Vayechi, which translates into he lived, which refers to the story of Jacob in Egypt and his reunion with his son Joseph. But it also tells us about the death of Jacob. There is actually two portions in the Torah, Chayei Sarah and Vayechi, which contains the word life, but paradoxically, in these portions, we read about the death of two of our patriarchs and one of our matriarchs. So I believe we must, in both cases, find a reason for that apparent contradiction. Why would the Torah use the word life to introduce us to the death of such important people? And I believe this question was already answered by our rabbis when they declared the righteous are called living even after death, while the wicked are called dead even in life. After the righteous pass, their memory still lives on within the minds and hearts of those who have learned from them, keeping their values alive. The opposite approach to this idea is that the wicked promotes wrongdoings in life. Therefore, in death, they are remembered for the negative impact they made on the world. Harvey Brown, of blessed memory, made significant contributions to this world. For example, Harvey was part of the history of kosher meats in Western Canada. Harvey and his brother Morris owned a poultry processing plant in Manitoba and were responsible for providing Winnipeg with kosher chickens for many years. Allowing thousands of people to fulfill the mitzvah of eating kosher food. Harvey was born in 1934, and he somehow bridged two cultures. His parents were immigrants. He grew up speaking Yiddish, and he never lost the connection with the culture where he came from. It's almost like Harvey had one foot strongly standing on the tradition of the old country, and the other one softly touching the modern world. He never fully embraced modernity. He didn't like technology, didn't care for sports, politics, or music. But Harvey had an incredible sense of responsibility, love for his family, and loyalty to his few but strong friendships. Harvey witnessed all the struggles the generation of his parents has to go through to start a new life in Canada. And Harvey learned invaluable lessons from that generation. Hard work, resilience, avoidance of distractions, and the importance of family. And from early age, he directed himself towards those things. Even though he lived in a country and in a time where he could have indulged himself with multiple forms of entertainment, Harvey remained incredibly focused on his vision of hard work to be sure he will be able to provide for Rita and the children. There is a very powerful Mishnah in Pirkei Avot where Rabbi Tarfon said, the day is short, the work challenging, the workers are lazy, the wages high, and the employer is impatient. You can see here Rabbi Tarfon's passionate desire to teach how important it is to commit yourself to your work. I believe he puts God in the role of the employer and even goes so far as to say that God is impatient. He's saying that God eagerly desired for us to take our responsibilities in this world very seriously by contributing to society through hard and honest work. On the surface, Harvey was many times misunderstood, of being kind of rough or uncaring, thinking only on work. But once you met him and got to know him, you will discover he was a very different man with a soft side and a warm heart. This week's Torah portion, as well as our presence here at the cemetery, should be an opportunity to meditate on the proximity of life and death. Vayachi starts with the word, and Jacob lived. And a few minutes later, it ends with the words, and Jacob passed away. This is a time to reflect on the legacy our loved ones left behind. To help us reflect on Harvey's life, I would like to invite a few people to come to the microphone to eulogize Harvey. Who wants to come first? Eddie? Eddie, please.
It's very cold. I'm not going to speak for long. The rabbi, I think, said many things that I might have said. The thing about my brother that comes to my mind, and that I think sums him up in many ways, is related to 5 words. His own words. I did it my way. And he did it without regret and without apology. Harvey knew at a very young age what he was going to do, maybe around 9 or 10. It's related to his background and some of the issues that the rabbi mentioned. He knew that the main thing for him, and was his guiding goal, was related to survival. He came from a background of people who were really dealing largely with survival. And he came into the world at a time when, if you think about it, survival was a big issue for everybody. And it's sort of what we've got now. I have a very early memory of Harvey, who had one of the largest paper routes in the city. He had about 150 papers, and days like this also remind me of how he used to go with his sled with 150 papers. I'd be about 4 or 5 years old, and I would be sitting on top of this sleigh. He'd schlep me with him, partly because I think my parents wanted to get me out of the house, and partly because he liked my company, although I don't think he would readily acknowledge it. I think he thought he was using me as a paperweight. And he would brag about my ability when he'd go into a large building. He'd send me in because it was warmer to remember where to put the papers. This he was very impressed by all that. Often what it shows is that there was a part of him that was very tender, because when he would dress me to go on these excursions, I could see from the way he handled me how important I was to him. But it's not something that he would verbalize. He didn't airbrush things. He saw things in very concrete ways, and he was always looking at the bottom line. He used to watch on TV. He didn't watch frivolous things such as sports, as the rabbi mentions. I'm sure he didn't care what happened with the Blue Bombers recently. But when his son played for the university football team, he was very proud of him. He looked things on the horizontal. He did not really aspire to many of the things that we think are grand and so on. But he really knew what he wanted, and he got what he wanted. I spoke with him 2 weeks ago on the yahrzeit of my mother, and I had a really lovely talk with him, and he wanted to live. Often, and I'm at the age, where this is an issue, people reach an age where they're rather ambivalent, and at some point become negative about going on with the exercise. He definitely wanted to live, and he was a very stubborn, tenacious guy. And I have an imagination that when the Rabbeinu Shalom told the angel to go and take him, the angel did not want to confront him, right? Because who knows what Harvey would have done. He had to take him by stealth. So Harvey went to sleep, and that's when he took him. And he didn't even know what happened to him. So anyway, Harvey, God bless you. You raised a wonderful family. You had a wonderful marriage with your wife. You were totally faithful and loyal. You're a rock. We miss you. I and my brother especially, had a very interesting, tumultuous relationship. Every time they got together, you'd think that someone was going to get killed. But they got together again the next day. Alav Shalom. We will miss you very much.
Thank you, Edward. Beautiful words. I'd like to invite now Jeffrey, Stuart, come to the microphone to eulogize their father.
So I'm going to speak for both of us. Can you hear? Yeah. Well, it's been a very difficult couple of days, to say the least, for our family. We all feel just a deep sadness, knowing that we'll never see Harvey again. Our family has lost its true patriarch. He's the eldest Brown. He's the eldest of the three brothers. And like I said before, he was the firstborn of immigrant parents in 1934 in Winnipeg's North End. He was fiercely protective and loyal to his family, and he took his many responsibilities very seriously. As a young boy, he diligently delivered more than 150 free press papers every day, and like my uncle mentioned, sometimes with the help of his youngest brother Eddie tagging along. But by the time he was 16, he saved up enough money to buy his first of many trucks, and he went straight to work. He followed in the footsteps of his father Sam and Uncle Abe, and he buying and selling poultry and anything else from farmers in Manitoba to make a buck. He would crisscross the province looking for chickens, but he would flip batteries, vegetables. In the winter, the fish was frozen in the back of the truck. Take whatever. And eventually he went on to buy and run Acme Produce with his brother Mo, which was the well-known kosher chicken business in Winnipeg for decades. As children, my brother and I remember how hard he worked. He worked very hard, both physically and mentally. He came home exhausted, and he would come in and drop his dirty clothes at the back door and eat dinner. My mom, we'd all eat together, and he'd make sure he had a shot or two of Seagram's VO, and he went to bed. He was a living example for us, both that hard work pays off. And I personally identified very strongly with my dad. I look up to him as a hero for many ways. And I took on many of his attributes, for better or for worse. And hopefully in somewhat of a more dilute form. And my mom often referred to me as little Harvey. And when we were very little, my brother and I would very much look forward to the times where he would occasionally take one of us on an adventure bringing in a load of chickens from a farm. And then later on, when we were older, we went to work alongside him for many years through high school and university. To my last year of med school, I was probably the best chicken catcher in my class. Catch chickens, and you know, the thing was learning even more, spending those hours in the truck, going to and from in those trips and talking. That alone time in the truck with our father. He taught us many things that every kid should know. Riding a bike, playing poker, and of course how to drive a hard bargain, especially when buying a vehicle. He often said that he was very proud of the fact that he was his own boss and he never worked for anybody. The truth is, he probably never could work for anybody. To be honest, he was a very different kind of a guy. Unusual, and he had his unique Harvey perspective on many, many topics. But it was exactly this that was part of his allure. While he was very serious about work, he was most comfortable with the guys. Not only his friends, but then he took on our friends as teens and as adults. Whether he was at the Good Earth, or Salisbury House, or Simon's, or A&W, or playing poker in our basement, the guys all loved hanging with Harv. And we look forward to sharing, and of course repeating, many Harvisms and stories in the next few days at the Shiva House. And although he didn't mention it often, he had lots of love for his family and his wife. It's important to also acknowledge here that his passing puts an end to his nearly 57-year marriage with our mom Rita. It was a lifelong partnership and friendship built on love. They had a very traditional marriage with clearly defined roles, but they were also each other's caregivers when it became necessary at different times over the years. He always reserved Saturday night as date night with Rita, and he prepared himself with a meticulous close shave. They truly had unconditionally supported each other through many ups and downs, and they shared a great pride in raising their two sons, a lawyer and a doctor. Well, at least that's our understanding that he was proud. You see, I only heard about Jeff's amazing accomplishments, and Jeff only heard how great I was. We thought maybe he was just a way of pushing us each to compete to get better. We think, I don't know. We'll never know. I don't know. He loved welcoming Lori and Sandy and his daughters, and he greatly enjoyed spending time with his 6 grandchildren. And witnessing his silliness with young kids was truly heartwarming. He also loved both of his brothers, Eddie and Mo, very dearly, and we're all very close. You might not believe that, though, after witnessing some of the fierce banter between them, as we all have, and he had a separate, very complicated relationship with each of them. Mo and Harv saw each other and argued almost every day, but they never held grudges, and they were best friends to his very last day. We can take great comfort that our dad had a long and full life with no regrets. We know he took great satisfaction in the results of the many years of hard work that he put in, and even greater satisfaction in the legacy that is his family. We will miss him deeply, and I can think of no greater honor than being referred to as Little Harvey. We love you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us such beautiful eulogy. I'm going to continue now with the memorial prayer, the El Maleh Rachamim. El Maleh Rachamim Shochem Bameroimim Hametze Menucha Nechona Tachat Kafei HaShechina B'ma'alot Kedoshim Kedoshim Uteorim Kezoyer Araki Amazirim Eden Ishemat Eden Ishemat Chaim Ben Israel Yoel HaKohen Vesara Esther She'alach le'olamo בעבור שאנו מתפללים ועד הזכרת נשמתו בגן עדן בגן עדן תהי מנוחתו לכם ולרחמים אחזתי דהיו וסדר כנף לעולמים וצרור בצרור החיים החיים את נשמתו אדוני הוא נחלתו וינוח ושלום על משכבו ונאמר אמן. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Harvey Brown, who has gone to his eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. May he rest in peace. Let us all say, Amen. Please join me now in the recitation of the words of comfort, the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Itgadal veitgadash shemei Rabah Be'alma divrah chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyom echon u'chayei dechol Beit Israel b'gala u'bizman kariv ve'imru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabah mevorach le'alam u'le'olmei olmaya יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם בעלמה במרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל במרו אמן. עושה שלום עם ברומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. המקום ינחם אתכם בטוב שרב לציון בירושלים. May God bless you and comfort you. Let us all say Amen. Immediately after the burial is over, everybody is invited to partake of the meal of consolation at 459 Park Boulevard East. Remember, if you are participating in the meal of consolation, the family request, you should be double vaccinated. Shiva is going to be observed at the same address. And it's going to be an open Shiva starting Saturday to Wednesday, with the service being chanted at 7:30 p.m. In lieu of flowers, family requests that donations on Harvey's memory be made to the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Now, we have one more step, one more mitzvah to fulfill here at the cemetery. That is to put some earth on top of Harvey's coffin. To the participation and the burial by taking a shovel, put some earth, according to the rabbis, is a great act of kindness. So it's a great way to honor one more time the life of Harvey Brown, Zichrono Livracha, of blessed memory. So I would like to invite family first, come forward, pick up a shovel, then everybody else is invited to do so. After you do it, please feel free to return to your transportation to proceed with a meal of consolation. And thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Just a reminder, if the ground is too hard, there is a big wide bucket with sand there that you can use instead. It's totally kosher to do that too. Just easier.